Hi, I'm Josh Carter and I'm here on the hills above Folkestone. Behind me is France and the gateway to Europe. The EU referendum is fast approaching, so we're heading into town to find out what the people here are going to be voting. Will it be in or out, or a bit like me, sitting on the fence?
Until you will find that there comes a time for making your mind up, for making your mind up, for making your mind up, for making your mind up.
Here's our EU referendum decision wheel. Now I want you to give it a spin and it's going to land on a politician or a celebrity, and then I'm going to read you a quote about what they say about the EU, and then you can give us your opinion. Okay, give it a good spin. Okay, so we've got Michael Caine, okay, who is persuading people for out. Okay, so here's what he says. Okay, he says this: to me, you've now got a Europe that's got a sort of government by proxy of everybody who has now got very carried away. Unless there are some extremely significant changes, we should get out. Now, what do you think of that quote?
I think it's a good quote. I feel, governed by Europe, we've lost the governing in our own country. Legally, morally.
Oh yeah. Okay, right, we've got Nigel Farage, so let's have a little look. This is what he has to say. It's a European Union of economic failure, of mass unemployment and of low growth. When people stand up and talk about the great success that the EU has been, I'm not sure anybody saying it really believes it themselves anymore.
I quite agree with that. I 100% agree. Thank you very much.
Okay, and why is that?
I wish to come out of the common market because I lived in it before and we was better, and now we're even worse.
Breaking the machine, sorry.
Okay, we've got Theresa May. Okay, so I'm just going to read you what Theresa May has to say. She is of the opinion that we should remain in, and this is what she says. For reasons of security, protection against crime and terrorism, trade with Europe and access to markets around the world, it is in the national interest to remain a member of the European Union. What do you think?
Well, that sounds very sensible. It's in everybody's interest to be part of something, but I think, you know, as Britain being an island nation, people are still kind of, unless they go and do the research, everyone still really wants to be, you know, we don't want to be told what to do by someone in Brussels, we don't want to be told how long we've got to boil our eggs for, or, you know, how long we've got to sharpen our pencils, but yeah, and for reasons of terrorism, I think you've got more chance of being hit by a jumbo jet driving your car than you've been killed by terrorists these days.
Okay.
Maybe that's just me.
Give it a spin, and then I'll read you the quote of the person that it lands on. Okay, take it away. Okay, David Cameron. He's obviously of the in opinion, and this is what he says. I believe something very deeply, that Britain's national interest is best served in a flexible, adaptable and open European Union, and that such a European Union is best with Britain in it. Now that's his opinion, but what is yours?
David? For me personally, I'm on the fence still, so I don't think there's enough information that's neutral. So I think everything that you're reading at the moment, all the leaflets that are being handed out, everything's kind of still a little bit biased. So there's a leaflet that got handed out in the post recently, and it's supposed to be neutral, but by the way it's advertised, it's clearly still in instead of out.
Okay.
So for me, I'm still on the fence, but I'm leaning more towards out than in. But I couldn't actually back that up solidly enough because I haven't seen enough information yet.
I totally agree with Michael Caine. I think we should get out. I think we can trade far better without the EU. We can really do it. We're paying far too much money into the EU. We don't need the EU. We need to be out. We are an independent country, always have been.
I don't agree with it, no. I don't see why security will make any difference because we've got the sea in between us and we can control, as far as possible, our own borders with having the sea around us.
Okay.
And we've got our own people to do it, who could do it, and with protection against crime and terrorism. Well, at the moment, I think there's more coming into the country, especially with gangs of people from Eastern Europe for crime and terrorism.
Well done, Carol. Well done. Great. We've gone to Boris Johnson. And this is what he says. I am a European. I lived in Brussels for many years. I rather love the old place, and so I resent the way we continually confuse Europe, the home of the greatest and richest culture in the world, to which Britain is and will be an eternal contributor, with the political project of the European Union. It is therefore vital to stress that there is nothing necessarily anti-European or xenophobic in wanting to vote leave on June 23rd. Now, quite a long quote.
It is, yes.
What do you think of that?
Well, yes, I quite agree with him in a lot of the ways, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am for voting out.
Saying that, isn't it?
And I think we can get on just as well without the... It's not what we joined up for.
Okay, how do you mean?
Well, when I voted first time round for it, when it was the common market, and that was just a local, like France, Germany, Spain, it was just like an agricultural market, but now it is spread, it's too political. There's too many countries involved, and we don't have enough say of our own borders and things, do we?
I think personally we should go out of the EU.
Okay.
And I think they say that we can't, still do trade. I think that's just rubbish. I think we could go into trade quite confidently, as we've always done before. So, and I think they should restrict on the immigration.
So here we go then. Take it away. Give us a spin. Yes, perfect. Emma Thompson. She's of the opinion that we should remain in.
Yeah.
And here is what she said, particularly about Britain. Britain is a tiny little cloud-bolted, rainy corner of sort of Europe, a cake-filled, misery-laden, grey old island. I just feel European and will of course vote to remain in the EU in the upcoming referendum. We should be taking down borders, not putting them up.
Oh, I don't know if I agree. I think the borders are what make us great as part of the Great Britain, is that, but we've always got that freedom to make our own minds up, so...
The thing is, for me, I think I've only ever known us being in the EU.
Okay.
So, to me, I would rather deal with the devil I know than the devil I don't.
Okay. So, what did you think about what she had to say about Britain? Do you think it is a dreadful place?
No, absolutely not. But then that's somebody saying it that lives here rarely now, and it's very Hollywood.
So, do you think the UK would be okay on its own?
I think we've always proved to be okay. I mean, if you go right back through history, we've never done too badly ourselves.
I personally think they want Europe to become a Europe-America system. I think it all backs in what America says, we follow suit. And I think with Germany, with Holland, with Dutch and all those, it's the same sort of thing. Okay. I think it's going to be a new world order, new world banking system. They're going to privatise the NHS. So I think it's going to go straight away. Going to go downhill, really.
I've only ever known us being in the EU, so I don't understand why we would leave. Why turn the apple cart?
So you're going to be voting to stay in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about that at all, but my opinion at the moment would be to stay in, yeah, because what happens if we don't? And the EU falls apart.
There's lots of countries that aren't part of the EU that are doing completely fine and can survive without it.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to come out, do you think that Britain could cope on its own?
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, how come?
We've got a proven track record of coping on our own and running an empire.
I really believe as a country we are strong, and yes, it might take a little while, but I do believe we can make it on our own without them.
Do you think there's been some scaremongering involved?
I think it's scaremongering on both sides, really. It's better out, better in, and I think that's probably what confuses people more.
You're going to use layman things and simple things to scare people into doing what you want them to do. Okay. So, like saying terrorism's going to go skyrocketing and militaries are falling apart. All the policemen are behind desks and things like that. It's all scare tactics.
Can you think of particular examples of scaremongering?
Well, at the moment we've had the house prices and going back into recession and banking, and it's everything every day as somebody else comes up with it.
There's been a massive amount of scaremongering with David Cameron and various other members of the Parliament. They're frightening people, saying, oh yes, the high streets are going to close, your mortgages are going up, your working hours are going to be longer. All this, it's just not true. I just don't believe it's true. How do they know this? How do they know this? We're not done it yet.
Well, it was going to be World War III at one time. What else? There's quite a few of them. We're going to go into recession. There's too many of them.
Yeah.
What was your opinion on President Obama getting involved in the debate?
Big fan of him, but I think he speaks a lot of sense, but really he needs to stick to what he's doing over there, because that's his domain and not ours. He wouldn't like us interfering, I'm pretty sure of that.
He wouldn't like it if we told them what to do, would he? No.
I think he should mind his own business. I think that with great respect, if we went to America and started telling him how to run his country, do you think he'd be pleased? I don't. He should stay out.
Well, we've spun the wheel, and opinions and passions are certainly high, whether that be for an in vote or an out vote. But one thing's for certain, nothing's for certain in this vote. Let's wait until June the 23rd.